Man, these Star Wars Christmas specials are getting weird. Hey everyone, it's me, Aaron.
And I'm Michelle.
And this is our post-Geekout reaction for Star Wars Rogue One. And for anybody who is new to this channel, the post-Geekout reactions are not reviews. I am going to do a review on this. It should hopefully be up around Monday, Tuesday at the latest. But the post-Geekout reaction is just an open, honest discussion about what we just saw and how we felt about it. And that does mean full spoilers are on. So if you have not seen Star Wars Rogue One yet, make sure that you come back after you've seen it. This is basically the spoiler discussion. I know it's weird for the spoiler talk to go up before the actual review, but you guys actually seem to like that. So I don't know. Blame yourselves. Anywho.
Plus, these are easier to record.
Listen, with the way that YouTube keeps changing its algorithms around, I gotta get stuff out as often as I can. So if the spoiler talk has to go up first, so be it. Blame YouTube. Also, let me just go ahead and get this out of the way because you guys are going to be wondering it right now. Sorry for the hissing sound that's in the background. That's the heater that's on. In our apartment complex, we have no control over the heat. They just turn it on whenever they feel like it, and it constantly sounds like a gas leak is going off. So that's going to be in the background throughout all this. Nothing I can do. Yeah. Sorry about that. Anywho, on to our discussion about Star Wars Rogue One. I really enjoyed this. However, I've been watching numerous reviews from people who are reviewing it like right after they saw it, and they are like head over heels. This is one of the best Star Wars films ever. It's right up there. It's amazing. We're reviewing it like maybe 15 hours after we saw it the next morning. I'm glad I had that time because it gave me time to kind of like let the excitement die down a bit. And I can look at it and go, yeah, you know what? There actually were a couple of problems I have with this film. However, the ending of the film is amazing. Yes. Like, I will give Act 1, Act 2, I'd give like a B, maybe even a B minus, in all honesty. The end is an A+, S-class, like whatever the ultimate achievement is. Like, an achievement should have popped up there on the movie theater screen that just went perfect ending. So I think that's honestly one of the reasons why almost everybody I've heard review this is like, it's the best Star Wars film yet. Like, let's tap that down a bit. I probably would have said the same thing if you had interviewed me as soon as I left the theater. But let's get into it. This film, you guys have seen it, you know what it's about. It is about the people who stole the plans for the Death Star. And the protagonist who we're following is Jyn Erso, and her dad is actually the one who designed the Death Star. And I love that, like, you get this whole backstory behind the Death Star. Like, you never knew about that. Like, you always just thought, okay, they made a giant planet-killing ship. There is, like, such a history behind it. Like, I love that, you know, you find out that the guy who designed it, he didn't want to design it. He tried to defect. He tried to leave. Then they came, they killed his wife, and then they basically forced him to do this. And he realized, they're going to make this one way or another. If I rebel against them, they're just going to kill me, get someone else who can do it because they already have all the information they need. Or I can stick around and try and make them believe I am so important to this that they have to do everything I say, and if they kill me, then the plan is gone. So now whenever I think about the Death Star, I'm like, holy cow, that's what was going on behind it, and that's why there was that like one weak spot. It's like, why don't you just have a tube that destroys everything? It's like, because this guy designed that trap in there because he was like, I have to figure out a way to destroy this thing. That was his like way of fighting back. And I absolutely love that. Basically, it explains, like, I never said that was a plot hole of the original. Like, the whole, like, you hit this one button and the whole thing blows up. But
wait, it was just more of
I'm sorry, I can't not think of the Rocket Raccoon at the beginning of this film. We saw the Guardians trailer. It's like, don't press this button. Now repeat back what I just said. No, that's the thing you're not supposed to do. God, I'm excited for that. Anywho. But yeah, it's like, oh my god, that was like the one like semi-plot hole with that whole plan of theirs. Not a plot hole anymore. Makes absolute sense now. And basically, she then has to go out with the rebels, and they go and see like her old master, like the guy who trained her, and played by Forrest Whitaker, and he's an extremist. And I love the idea that there are like extremists out there against it. Like, the rebellion is like, hey man, we're gonna do some dark stuff. That dude is really messed up though. That's the dude we can't go near. I'm like, man, that is so cool to think that there are shades of gray to the rebellion. And like the whole idea that it's like, well, it's the Empire. They're so evil that if you're going against them, automatically you're good. Like, no, there's chaotic good out there. There's the bad good guys. So yeah,
it's like a very realistic approach on war and everything, because that's exactly what it's like.
Yeah, I read a review that summed this up very well, which is that the original Star Wars films were like World War II films, because it was like, this is the Nazis, we have to go out there and stop them. Come on, team! This is like Vietnam, this is like Iraq, Afghanistan, this is like, no man, on the ground, it's chaos. It is savage. Things are going wrong here on the ground, and sometimes the good guys have to be kind of bad in order to accomplish the mission. It was a whole new look at this. Also, I love that basically when they go into Forrest Whitaker's hideout, it's basically the evil version of the cantina scene, because it's like, okay, if you thought the guys in the cantina scene were messed up, these guys are really messed up. Like, there's guys there who are like zombie Wookiees in there. Like, there's one moment which, like, there's some guy watching the hologram, and he turns around and like, it looks like a Wookiee who had like part of his face blown off and like just hasn't eaten in years and is degrading. It's like, man, they got dirty with this. And not just with like the villains, or however you want to refer to Forrest Whitaker's team, because he's not there that long. But, you know, the heroes, that's what everybody is talking about. It's like, wow, the heroes got so dark. And I realized that instantly when you meet Diego Luna's character, and he's getting information from some guy, and then the Empire is coming over, and the Stormtroopers are coming, and they're like, oh my gosh, they're on our way, I can't get out of here, my arm is broken, I can't climb out of here. And he just goes, it's okay, it's okay. And I was like, I know what's gonna happen. He's gonna shoot him in the shoulder so it looks like he was trying to fight the rebels, and that way the Stormtroopers will be there. He's like, they're not going to arrest him. No, he just murders him. Just flat out murders him. And this is a guy who, I don't know if you would say he was on his side, but he was helping him. He was helping Diego Luna's character, and I was like, geez, that is... I mean, this is the first time we met him. So instantly it's like, that is not Luke Skywalker. This guy is different. In fact, one of the things that I loved about this so much is that instantly, right off the bat, I was like, this feels new, because the film starts with, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and I was like, here comes the scroll. No scroll. It then just cuts to the opening scene.
Right.
I was like, oh, that's interesting.
It's like, that kind of threw me off a bit, because like there's always the scroll at the beginning of every Star Wars movie to explain what's going on, but you don't get an explanation. So you kind of just like jump into like the story.
Sometimes there were times in here when I was like, it doesn't feel like this film was just made for the people out there who had seen the previous films. It feels like this film was made for the people out there who had seen the previous films and had been reading like the plot synopsis online before they went into it. Because there were moments in which they just jumped from thing to thing to thing to thing. And I was like, I think I know what's happening, but I think that's just because I read what the plot of this film was going to be before I came in here, and I've been studying this film for the past couple of years that it's been announced.
So I've been, I didn't read any of plot synopsis because I want to, like, you know, be surprised and everything.
Well, I didn't really like spoilers, but I understand.
Yeah, but yeah, it did seem kind of confusing at first, but basically it was like these, it's like at the beginning, there's like different threads, and as the movie goes on, these threads start to weave into each other, and becomes like basically this tapestry, which is the finale, and it is awesome. Okay,
that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
But I will also say, like, it wasn't just that there was no scroll, but also when the title card finally came up and just goes Star Wars Rogue One.
I mean, did he even say Star Wars? I thought it just said Rogue One.
Yeah, it just said Rogue One. But then I was like, all right, here's the title card. And the title card came in like a normal Star Wars title card. And I was like, all right, the da 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 da. And it was a different song.
Yeah.
And that's the moment that really hit me. This is new.
Yes.
This is our first step into something new in the Star Wars universe. That really just blew my mind. Like, I know that it's such a small thing, but it's like, yeah, I know this is not following Luke and Leia and their kids and, you know, the next generation or whatever is going to be revealed that the characters from Force Awakens are. I know it's not that. I know that these are new characters, but still Star Wars, right? And yeah, it has to do with the Empire. It has to do with the Death Star. It has to do with this same universe. But when I didn't hear the Star Wars music and I didn't get that crawl, it really sunk in. I was like, wow, I have not seen this before. This is totally new. It was just such a refreshing feeling.
Like, I kind of feel like this movie is like about unsung heroes, which is why you don't get the the main theme and everything, because like we all know Han Solo and Luke Skywalker. They're basically like the textbook heroes you read in history class. But Rogue One is about those you don't hear about, but have like made a serious impact. And if not for them, there wouldn't be those textbook heroes.
I hate that I keep coming in here and going, well, I read another critic this, but it's like, yeah, there is another. I was watching the movie Bob review right before we started this, and he had the line that sums up perfectly. This is the movie about the war heroes who don't get memorials. Yes. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly what you just said. Yeah, it is. These are the guys who, like, not just because they're, kind of like unsung heroes, the unknown veteran, the guy out there who's like, wow, well, he gave his life and no one even remembers who he was. No, it's also the guys who's like, yeah, that's the guy who did some kind of nasty shit that we can't really talk about. And it's like, yeah, that stuff goes on in wars. And like, wow, this is really a shocking new look at it. And I gotta say, I really loved all the supporting characters in here. Like Diego Luna and whatever his character's name was, and Jyn Erso, they're the two protagonists. Forrest Whitaker, I've already talked about, I thought he was great. But then they get this robot in there. The robot was amazing. Played by Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, he was a reformed droid.
Yeah, he was one of the Empire's droids.
Yes.
Who they reprogrammed, but because they reprogrammed him, he has no filter. Anything he thinks he says. And, like, he provides almost all the comedy in here. And that...
Like, droids make everything better.
I don't know about that.
Well, the good
droids,
ones,
the droids have been problems in the previous films. Yeah, you forget, before BB-8, the droids were like, okay, seriously, C-3PO, I get it, that's fine, alright. But yeah, this guy was great, and also it was so weird to see a droid who still kind of spoke properly, but he was kicking ass, too. Like, the way that he would just body slam people or pick up a stormtrooper and use him to hit another stormtrooper. Like, god damn.
Well, that's because, like, he was like a giant robot. He wasn't like a little small sphere or anything like that. He was like, like you said, he was made by the Empire, so he was made to kick ass. So. Which,
again, that's something we haven't seen with the droids before. And then when they end up going to, like, this ancient Jedi temple, and they meet these two guys, Donnie Yen, I don't remember the other guy's name, but Donnie Yen was like this kind of, I don't know how you want to describe it, but he was like one of the, I'm just gonna call them monks, because I don't know if there's like an official term for it in the Star Wars universe, but they were like basically the monks who like guard over like Jedi temples and such, believed in the Force, they didn't use lightsabers and such, but again, that's a new side that we're getting to the Star Wars universe, which, again, anything that you can do to like add layers to this universe I think is great, so I found that really enjoyable, just kind of like forming theories in my head of like, okay, well, what did these guys used to do? And I could have sworn that it was for like one shot, but I could have sworn that in Force Awakens we also saw like a blind guy with a staff, and I was like, okay, well, was he a member of that too? Like, I was trying to think back to it. I gotta go back and watch Force Awakens now. It's like, okay, so like, do all of them go blind if they start working in these temples? Like, what happens? So yeah, I love that this actually got me thinking, but he also provided a lot of comedy as well, because he was like the spiritual one. Like, he was the one who was like, the Force is with me, I am the Force. Like, he's blind, but he can use the Force to basically see and kick ass because it's Donnie Yen.
It's kind of like Toph from Airbender. Like, she uses her earthbending skills to see.
That's the weird thing, is that I was like, this is kind of a stereotype, like the blind Asian martial artist who uses his extra senses to see. Like, we've gotten that so many times in so many different stories. But for some reason, I didn't have a problem with it being kind of a stereotype in this one. And I think it's partly because typically when you get that, it's the one Asian dude in the film. In this one, you actually have everyone in here is a person of color. And I was like, that's way to go. I know that there were tons of people out there who were like, well, this is just some social justice warrior message. It's like, the Empire is Nazis, you assholes. The Empire is Nazis. Who better to go up against Nazis than women and people of color? That's who all the Star Wars heroes should be.
Speaking of women, I'm glad like another main protagonist is a female. Like with
that's so awesome that we got two in a row.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a quick little rant that I had to get into. By the way, I actually went on Twitter when this whole block Star Wars thing was trending because people were like, oh my gosh, there's nothing but social justice warrior messages. And I went there and went, to anybody who wants to block this because it's portraying the Empire negatively, you know the Empire are Nazis, right? You know Nazis were bad guys. That's why I tweeted, some guy actually responded to that and said, Nazis were bad guys? Why? Do you know how many Nazis were actually involved in the Holocaust? Don't group all of them together. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I really should not group everybody of a certain group together and claim they're all negative because of who they choose to be, because that's what Nazis do. It's like, did you honestly just come in here and tell me, do not judge all Nazis negatively? Yes, Nazis are bad guys. That's the defining thing that you have to be in order to be a Nazi.
That's their whole point.
Yes. Dear God, sorry, that's just a mild rant.
Oh, God.
That was like, I was just like, is this a joke? Because if it's a joke, it's kind of brilliant.
I don't know if it's a joke considering all this alt-right bullshit going on.
Alright, that's...
Alright,
if there was ever a time in which we needed a film about people fighting the Empire, it's right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. But, Jesus. Okay, I'm probably going to cut out everything that I just said. But, yeah, I think that it's amazing that they've decided to go that route with the protagonists in these films. But I think the other reason why I didn't really view it as a stereotype is because he didn't act like the way that we so often get characters like that. It's kind of one of the reasons why Toph, as you just brought up, nobody views her as a stereotype because, yeah, she does not act like the typical, like, blind kung fu master. He has a lot of jokes in here. Like, there's a moment in which they're shoving a bag over each of their heads to take them to see Forrest Whitaker's character. They put the bag over his head and he goes, oh, come on! And I was like, that's brilliant. He's like, yeah, he's blind. It makes no difference at all. But they also end up meeting up with this former Empire pilot. He's like the only other guy whose name I actually remember, because his name was Bodhi, and I thought they said Booty. And I was like, your name is Booty? Are you part of the New Day? Yeah, and I ended up liking him as well. But okay, we're going real positive. Let me get into my problems. Because I gotta leave in like 13 minutes, so let's go ahead and get into this. As you all have noticed, when we talked about Force Awakens, I was like, oh man, Finn and Rey and all of them. And this one I'm like, Jyn Erso and Forrest Whitaker and Diego Luna and Booty and those guys. Yeah, the reason why I've been referring to them like that is because like I did not get nearly the attachment to these characters that I have in previous Star Wars films. And in a film where you're supposed to really be feeling like, oh no, what's going to happen to them? You needed that in this more than any of them.
I guess so, but I kind of feel like it also drives the point of the unsung heroes.
Well,
like, their names are not very well known, so...
Well, I mean, this is the film about them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're making the film about them, us getting to know them and then realizing, wow, we never knew these guys because they are the unsung heroes, I think that would make the impact more. But also, just speaking of it as a film, like it's a film, you need characters who you're going to get attached to, especially if the whole idea is that they aren't making it back. And I gotta be honest with you, the two guys who they met at the Jedi Temple, you know, the blind guy and also the guy with the turret on his back, holy cow, that guy had an awesome one.
I just call him the gunman.
The gunman, yeah. I thought they were actually really cool. And also, speaking of the Star Wars films becoming progressive, you weren't on my side on this when we talked about it afterwards, but I want to leave it to the comments. Those guys were gay, right? Like
I don't want to say that I wasn't on your. I don't want to say like they're not gay, but it's like maybe I'm just like
you think that they could be, but you weren't certain. I was like, no, that.
I'm just like indifferent. Like it
could be. It could
basically,
not be.
I'm fine with either way. If they're not gay, that's fine. If it's like a friendship, it's fine. If they are gay, that's fine too. And you know something, considering how like the Poe and Finn relationship is like a huge thing in the fandom, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the next thing going on.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, here's the thing. I am not one of those guys who's like, oh, those two characters talked for 5 seconds. Clearly, they are a couple. Like, all the people out there was like, no, Poe and Finn, they're a couple. I was like, they had like 2 scenes together, and they're like, hey, man, how's it going? That was it. That was their connection. In this, like, the way that they just look at each other and the way they interact, and like the moment in which One of them is dying, and the other one is just holding him in his arms and looking at him. I was like, that's not friendship there. That is like, I'm getting like something beyond friendship from that. Like, I guarantee you, 4 or 5 months from now, after this has left theaters, the director of this film is going to be in an interview and he's going to go, oh no, they were gay. We were totally trying to play them as gay. Like, I guarantee you. Kind of like how Dumbledore, like, after all the films were over with, the writer of those books was able to come out and just go, no, yeah, Dumbledore was totally gay. I just couldn't really say it in the books. I guarantee you. Watch it happen. But anyway, I like them. I like those two characters. Bodhi, I was like, I don't care about you, but then eventually I was like, okay, you know what? Watching him work so hard to get this done, I got it. I'm on your side now. And the robot was great.
Yes.
But Diego Luna and Jyn Erso, I thought they were so flat. Like, Jyn Erso is supposed to be like this total badass. We see her kick someone when they come to rescue her out of the prison thing. That's all I got from her. Is that, okay, she's kind of brutal in that scene. Then there's one line in which Forrest Whitaker says, you were one of my best soldiers. And I was like, okay, so that's a little backstory I got. That is all I get from her. And Diego Luna's character, I was just like, your entire character is, I'm the guy who does the stuff. And it's like, okay, that's fine, but I need more from you other than just, you do the thing. Because like his entire character was, alright, I will go there and do this thing. Okay, well, we want you to also do this other thing. Are you sure I have to do that thing? Yes. Okay, I'm gonna do the thing. And like his one big turn is, I chose not to do the thing. And I was like, both of them are really flat, and they're the protagonists of this.
Like, I noticed that, like, in some movies, they tend to do this where, like, the protagonists are kind of flat, but the sidekicks have all the character and everything.
You get that a lot because it's like, okay, well, the sidekicks are allowed to be, like, they're allowed to be personalities.
Yeah.
Whereas the protagonists have to be, like, the people who you put your shoes, typically whenever the protagonist is flat, is because the audience is supposed to put themselves in their shoes. In this case, I don't think that's what they were going for. I think that in this case, it was that, no, Jyn Erso, she's a total badass, and she's ruthless, and so is Diego Luna's character. They're both totally, like, very dedicated to this cause, and they're very, like, hard-edged people. And I was like, I get the sense that they're hard, but hard is a description, it's not a character. So yeah, I honestly just found both of them to be really flat. And that really was a problem for me. And it wasn't just that, but also, they move from one thing to the next so much in this. It's just bam, 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 bam. I never got a sense of any camaraderie between them. I never got a sense that they bonded. I got a sense from, like I said, the two guys who they met on the monk and the gunner. I got the sense from them. I totally got the sense. But then again, when you meet them, they've already been with each other. They already have a connection. And you get the sense that, yeah, it's established. But all the new people, you never get the sense that they're building something here. This film needed like 10 more minutes.
Yeah.
Like it's 2 hours and 13 minutes. It needed to go up to 2.5 hours. And just the rest of that is nothing but the characters talking, showing off personality, showing off backstory, and also like bonding with each other.
I hope those are like deleted scenes that we get to see in like the extended or uncut version of the DVD.
This really is the year of, no man, the extended edition is where it's at. Yeah, I'm really hoping it's in there. I think that would be like, I really hope they just re-release that in theaters, because if they tell me, hey man, there's 10 more minutes in here, I'll be like, I know exactly what those 10 minutes are. It's nothing but character building stuff. I will gladly go and see that. And 10 minutes of character building stuff is really all you needed in this. Like, that would have been perfect.
Right.
But, oh man. Sorry, I'm just thinking about all the things I still want to say. I got like 10 minutes left. Okay, gotta start racing through this right now. Yeah, the characters really just were very flat to me, at least the two protagonists.
Yeah.
However, when it gets there to the end, like I said, I didn't get a sense of camaraderie from these people, but when it gets there towards the end and like everything starts going down, I didn't really get into it at first, because I was like, I don't know these people. I didn't get time to know them. So I'm not getting that connection to them, especially like the 20 some odd people that they just brought along there at the end, and they're like, no, they all want to help too. So when you see them start down, I'm like, I don't know you, I don't know you, I don't know you, don't care. But it's just shot so incredibly well. The music is so good. The tension builds so well. That was like, now I'm caring. And the moment that I started to care, it just slowly spiked right up. Yeah, it just kept building and building. And every single time that someone died, I really, like, it just impacted me. Like, I knew the robot was going to die because he was the most likable guy there, and he's a robot. So I was like, he's going to. But even still, when he died, they did that so well.
And it's like, you know they're going to die because these guys are not really mentioned in the Star Wars.
Well, they do mention in like Force Awakens, not Force Awakens, but in New Hope in Episode 4, like, yeah, they didn't quite make it back. Like, they mentioned it like briefly, like, yeah,
but that's the thing. It's like they're mentioned that they didn't make it, and that's it. So you know that these characters are going to die anyway. But it's still like.
But still, I was like,
yes.
Well, one of them has to live. Like, what? Yeah, one of them has to get the message across. And then when they explain, it's like, no, they're able to transfer the message out if they get up to the satellite. I was like, oh, they might not make it back because they don't have to. And yeah, when you watch their sacrifice and such, like, that was some of the best character moments in there. Like, it was literally like I said, the last act of this film is everything I could have needed in this film all there. It was amazing, and the tension is so damn good. Like, I did have one problem that they said, well, we have to get them to take the shield down. We have to relay a message to them that they need to get the shield down so that we can transfer the file to them. The last act of this is kind of like Dead Space, because everything that could go wrong goes wrong, and they have to go from one place to the next just fixing it. But yeah, I kept getting that feeling that I was like, okay, well, they have to do something to get out there. And they're like, well, we gotta get the shield down. It's like, it can't be the shield I'm thinking of. Because we've been watching for the last 20 minutes them trying to destroy the shield. Why do you need to get a message to them to tell them to destroy the shield? They're already trying to do that. But then when you see what he does, he basically sends a ship on a suicide mission in an awesome way to take out the shield. I was like, that's why they had to get the message across. Because they were trying to take down the shield without getting their own men killed. But then when they find out if the shield goes down, they save the whole world because they can get the Death Star plans. I was like, oh, they need to know what was at stake here. They need to know why that shield needed to get down, because then they're like, all right, sorry guys, pleasure serving with you, suicide mission time. I was like, wow, yeah, that really did have an impact. And yeah, every single moment of this in which, like, you're seeing, like, the bars fill up on things like, oh, signal being broadcast. I was like, oh, come on. Like, that tension is so high. And the height of all that tension is reached when Darth Vader pops up. Because I'm going to be totally honest with you guys. I've said this numerous times. I like the Star Wars films. I like those original 4 films. Did not care for the prequels at all. But I like those original 4. However, never considered myself a Star Wars fan. And part of that even extends to the fact that I was like, Darth Vader is a good villain. Not one of the best villains ever. Like, whenever people say Darth Vader is one of the best villains ever, I'm always like, he's good. He's good. I like him. I ain't gonna say that anymore, because the ending of this film is one of the most horrifying things I've seen with a film. Like, and it's not because necessarily of what he's doing, but just the way it's shot. It's just him. It's the opening of New Hope. It basically goes right into New Hope. And you know, when you see Darth Vader in the beginning of New Hope and he's coming down the hallway, this is what happened right before he got in that hallway. And he went through all the other guys in there, and you just see everybody lining up trying to stop him, and he is just taking them out left and right, and it's just terrifying what he does. Like, there's a guy, the door is cracked that much, and he is screaming at the people on the other side, get me out of here! And like, Darth Vader's just getting closer, taking out guy after guy. There's a moment where she grabs a guy's blaster shot with the Force and shoves it back into him. And like, Jesus, he is not playing around. I loved everything about Darth Vader in here. Like, there's a moment in which they have to go and visit Darth Vader on his home base, and it's a base located in lava pits, and when I saw it, I didn't know they were going to see Darth Vader at first. I was like, who the hell builds a base in a lava pit? And then you see his Darth Vader, and it's like, oh, the guy who was born in lava. The guy who was born when his old self fell into the lava pits builds that. That says a ton about his character. So yeah, this film, like I said, I really had problems with the characters and how we didn't get enough time with them, how we didn't get to explore them, and how the 2 protagonists were really flat. Aside from that, that last act makes up for not all of it, obviously not, but I would go and see this film again just for that last third act. That was stunning to me. Also, one last thing that I forgot to mention. I mentioned that I really loved that we got this like new story about the history of the Death Star, and we found out the backstory of it. I love that they came in here and said, yeah, the guy who had been building the Death Star, the guy who had been planning it all and overseeing it all, not the guy who you saw in New Hope. Because that guy came in here and just totally went, I will make sure to tell Lord Vader that the Death Star that I have been overseeing is going according to plan. And I was like, oh, like, you don't feel bad for the villain because it's like, yeah, he's a Nazi. Of course you don't feel bad for him, but you're like, damn, that was cold. Some guy in the audience even went, oh! Like, at that moment, I was like, I can't blame him. Yeah, that deserved that reaction. Yeah, like I said, this just added so much to this world. It completely changed the tone, which is great because that's what people want to see. They want to see different tones from this universe. They want to see different characters. I think it succeeded at almost everything except, like I said, creating new memorable heroes. I mean, aside from the sidekicks, like I said, it's just Jane Erso and Diego Luna. But I feel like you needed them the most. That'd be like if you saw Star Wars Force Awakens and it was like, yeah, I didn't care for Rey or Finn that much, but, you know, Poe was cool. I was like, no, Poe was cool, but so was Rey and Finn. Like, we got everybody. Even Kylo Ren was a cool new villain. It's like everybody that was new and that was great. And this one's like, everybody's pretty cool, but we didn't get enough time for them to be great, especially the two people who really needed to be great. That was my big problem with it. Yeah, I would come in here and give this like an A-. Like I said, it's BBS class. In a weird way, I found out this is the guy who directed the Godzilla film that came out 2 years ago. I was like, this is literally what my complaint with that film was. It's like, side character, Bryan Cranston, amazing. Beef Man Steak, the protagonist, and his wife, Scarlet Witch. I didn't care about either of them at all. And I was like, why are we sticking with them? Bryan Cranston's the guy I want to follow. But then at the end, I was like, I really don't care about any of this because Godzilla's being awesome right now. It's like, all right, this is just what this director does. You got anything left to add?
No, you pretty much said everything.
All right, so that was our thoughts. Let us know in the comments down below how you felt about this film. And like I said, I've got the actual review, which will include my thoughts more planned out, and with little skits and jokes and all the goofy fun stuff that you've come to expect from me will be coming out in just a few days. So make sure you hit that subscribe and follow me for that. And if you wanted to see more of these open, honest discussions about the films that we watched, then make sure to click that subscribe. We also talk about TV shows sometimes. And I'm actually thinking about starting to do this with video games too, because I'm playing through Final Fantasy right now, and it's like, I've got some stuff I want to say about Final Fantasy 15. But so if you want to see me start doing stuff like that, let me know in the comments down there as well. But thank you guys very much. Come back next time.
Bye. Bye.